Putin will miss a maulkorb if tourists are allowed. When it comes to freedom of opinion, Russia is even more aggressive. Now even tourists are expected to pledge not to criticize. The Russian people are informed about the current situation by Putin's propaganda apparatus, which is updated daily in the media. The commentators rail against the West and come up with wacky reasons why the Ukraine supposedly needs to be freed. In the best-case scenario, anyone who expresses criticism towards the government will be proscribed, and in the worst-case scenario, they will be put in prison. Now Kremlherrscher Vladimir Putin wants to bring tourists to his country as well. Anyone traveling to Russia is required to sign an explanation. One of the things one should promise in this is not to criticize Russia's attack on Ukraine. According to the state news agency TASS, the Russian Interior Ministry had prepared an appropriate proposal. In it, foreigners will be obligated to adhere to the brutal rules of opinion suppression, including those that affect LGBTQ+ groups' rights. Foreign nationals traveling to Russia were required to sign a document stating their acceptance of the criticism ban upon arrival. Duma must still decide on the overseas regulation. According to the draft regulation, foreign nationals will be legally obligated to refrain from advocating nicht-traditionelle Sexualbeziehungen or spreading history truth about the performance of the Soviet people in defending their fatherland and his contribution to the victory over fascism, his contribution to the defeat of fascism. The proposal is expected to be presented soon to the Duma, the Russian parliament. We still don't know what the penalty is for breaking the agreement is. A minimum of an instruction is likely to be issued because she is connected to the arrival. In the first half of the year, Russia welcomed 187,000 more tourists than the previous year, according to the Federal Security Service, FSB. The majority come from China, with Turkey, Germany, and Turkmenistan following closely behind. Statista reports that 8.2 million tourists visited Russia in 2022. Still, you're well below the numbers that were available before the COVID-19 pandemic. So far, 24 million visitors have been recorded for 2019. The Russian tourism industry is unlikely to have it easier due to the war and the rescinded laws. In Russia, any criticism of the Russian invasion war is met with harshness. The rules were again loosened in March when negative accusations against Russian troops, including Soldatenruppen, were brought to justice, as reported by TGSJA. Furthermore, it was forbidden to speak publicly about the number of civilian casualties in Ukraine and Russian war crimes. The United States Forces Japan and the 5th Air Force are based out of Yokota Air Base. The one that crashed was one of 6 CV-22 Ospreys stationed at Yokota. The majority of the Ospreys stationed in Japan are flown by the U.S. Marine Corps, although there are a few Air Force units that are also involved. Last year, the Osprey fleet was temporarily grounded by Air Force Special Operations Command after 2 consecutive safety incidents occurred when the clutch slipped, leading to an uneven distribution of power to the rotors. Clutch failure was also mentioned in a 2022 fatal U.S. Marine Corps Osprey crash that killed 5 people. The Navy and Marine Corps have both reported similar issues and are working to fix their aircraft. Accident investigators determined that dual hard clutch engagement was the cause of the engine's failure. In August, 3 Marines were killed and at least 5 others were critically injured when a U.S. Marine Corps Osprey carrying 23 service members went down on an island in northern Australia. The crash occurred during a multinational training exercise.